Christopher Luxon, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, good to be with you.
We're on the home stretch for this year and it's been a busy one. How are the energy levels for you?
Really good, really good. I mean, it's been a tough year. It's been a big year, I think, for the whole country, to be honest, as everyone's been wrestling with some of the challenges we've experienced economically. And so you're very conscious of that. But, more optimistic, more positive, more determined that we are going to make sure the country realises all the potential. So, pretty fired up still.
You announced in January that 2025 would be the year of growth, and it's taken until this month, but economists are starting to say that the economy is turning the corner. Has the recovery, in your mind, progressed fast enough?
It's been challenged. I mean, I think the reality is we hit Q2 with Trump's Liberation Day, and that caused a huge loss of confidence. If you're an investor, you actually said, this is chaos, I don't know what's happening here. If you're a consumer, you didn't want to spend money because you weren't sure what was happening. And as you saw through that winter period in New Zealand, it was incredibly difficult because the reaction to the Q2 contraction in the economy as a function of the chaos and the uncertainty around the tariff policy, caused a huge amount of negative sentiment for people. And I was just very conscious it's incredibly difficult and challenging for people. And it's the fact that they've been through a massive COVID period of time. We were slow coming out of COVID, and they've walked straight into a recession by virtue of economic management being poor. And we've had to, and I know people want it done faster, but, and we're doing as fast as we can. We've had some parts of the economy recover well, but we're seeing now the signs of that recovery. And it's great to see media reporting on some of the positive stories that are happening. The question for us now, I think, is a really fascinating one. We'll continue to fix the basics and the things that need to be fixed. But actually, we've got a real choice, and it's a really exciting time for New Zealand because the question is, we will recover, we will come out of this, but what are we going to do to shape that recovery so that we set this country up for an awesome future, which it can have for our kids and our grandkids?
Just changing tack quickly to law and order, you have led a crackdown. You've introduced tougher sentencing laws, gang-specific offences. You're building hundreds of new prison beds in Hawke's Bay. The prison musters hit a new peak, 11,000 people. How much is this costing the country?
Well, actually, it's helping the country, because what it's not costing the country is victims of crime being bashed and being victims of violent crime. If you think about how we're approaching running this government, it's what's the problem, what's a common sense plan, and how do we get better results, and then how do people feel it? And if you think about law and order, we had massive growth in violent crime, retail crime, ram raids, all of those things. That's the problem that we had. So what do we do about it? We go after gangs because they're a big driver of violent crime. I'm really proud. We have 38,000 fewer victims of serious violent crime. That's the murders, the muggings, the bashings, the homicides, all of that stuff we've made it, and that's come down in a really short period of time. We've had a 16% reduction in serious youth offending. We've had an 85% reduction in ram raids. Now, 2 years ago, we used to wake up every morning with 1 or 2 ram raids that had happened. And yes, we've had tougher sentencing, and yes, you're right, I think we have 1,900 extra prisoners in prison. That's our best place to rehabilitate them, but it means they're out of our community causing harm and suffering on New Zealanders, and that's what our focus has been.
Looking forward to next year, yes. 2026. How are election preparations going?
I mean, without doubt, the number one thing is to make sure the economy is growing and that people are feeling that. That is our major focus. But we're also very focused on the fact that, yes, there's a lot to to fix the basics, as I keep saying, but there's a lot to build out the future with as well. And when you see when you look out at the New Zealand economy and the demography, we have to deal with some structural challenges around welfare, health and superannuation. And that's why you saw us announce a policy to step up KiwiSaver contributions, because we want individual New Zealanders to have bigger nest eggs, more like we see in Australia, and we want that capital in this country so that we can invest it in more infrastructure and actually get more things built for people.
Will you be National's leader at the next election campaign?
Absolutely.
How are you so certain about that?
Well, I think, I've seen, media, comments. I've had those right from day one. And I think, the reality is that I came into, politics, 4 or 5 years ago, and, we came in our second worst election result. The National Party was in a state of civil war. We'd had 5 leaders in 5 years. The media was used to a daily soap opera from the National Party, and there's been a bit of an overhang around that. And so I've had that right from the get-go and all the time that I've been involved in politics. But I know, what it took to rebuild a National Party from 20% to 37% and find a pathway to win an election. After being in quite a dysfunctional state, and then to be able to form a coalition government. We have a strong team, amazing talent. We've got 49 MPs, incredible people coming from all walks of life. They've got a lot to offer this place. And so we're a tight, disciplined team.